Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. We are going to give a few minutes for more people to join us.
Hello,
Hi, Ayman.
how are you all doing today? Hello, Sultan. We just opened the mic. Hope you can hear us now.
I think the question is about the video, so maybe you will share it again with the sound.
No, there's no sound actually on the video. It's just
Okay.
yeah, it's background music. So I thought we reduce the sound and chat a bit.
So I know, Ayman,
Wonderful.
we decided to start sharp at 4 because there is so much invaluable information for the audience. Um, so let me please actually start this webinar. Hello, everyone, again, and thanks for joining today's webinar, Microsoft Copilot for HR and Learning and Development Teams. My name is Rula Ramahi. I'm the Senior Marketing Manager at TeKnowledge, and I'm happy to be your host. A few things to share with you before we start. This is the second webinar on a series of Microsoft Learning webinars we are organizing for October, November, and December. I will share the company's LinkedIn profile in the chat to learn more about the upcoming webinars. In addition to that, I will send you an email using the email address you have on your LinkedIn profile with the session's recap and more details about the next webinars. Please check your inbox by tomorrow's latest. And I encourage you to stay with us way to the end because we will be sharing a virtual giveaway redemption code. It's your opportunity to claim the knowledge you will learn with us today and celebrate it on your social media channels with your friends and connection. And more on this with the speaker. We enable a Q&A section to drop us your questions or feel free to share what's on your mind in the chat with the speaker and I will take care of your input. I'm joining here with my colleague and our expert speaker, Ayman Al Khalifa, with over 16 years of experience navigating a wide range of business lines from IT, strategies, training, consultations, AI, and much more. Ayman is a certified Microsoft trainer, certified EC Council trainer, accredited APMG and ISACA trainer, and IT technical advisor at TeKnowledge. From my side, happy learning, and the stage is yours, Ayman.
Thank you, Rula. Thank you. Right. As Rula was saying, welcome to the session. The name is Ayman. The name is Ayman Al Khalifa. My usual joke is that usually people spell their name with AY. However, mine is AI, so feel free to call me AI man or Ayman. This is my LinkedIn profile. Feel free to link in if you're active in LinkedIn. Let the learning proceed after the training. That's what we care about here at TeKnowledge. We don't walk away when the session ends or the training ends. We're there for you even after the training to answer your questions and to help you with your technology adoption or transformation as well. So let's begin. Well, just allow me to get my gears up. Just a second. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, imagine that we're living in a world where barriers to learning are broken down. Yeah. where every employee has the required tools and skills to excel and innovate. Today, this is not an imagination anymore. We're making it happen with Microsoft Copilot. So for us to see the details, let's first, and before we dive into a typical day of an HR or a learning and development professional, let's first take a look at the different flavors of Copilot. Let's define what is Copilot for those who never used Copilot before. So first of all, Copilot is a collaboration between Microsoft and OpenAI to make mainly to create a generative AI application that would help you excel in your daily tasks, and it will boost your productivity. When I say collaboration, basically what I mean is, well, Copilot is built on top of a foundation model, on top of the OpenAI model from GPT, the Chat GPT, the famous Chat GPT, you know. But the only difference that I want to focus on now is that many of us are amazed with the capabilities of ChatGPT, and we started using it for everything, writing emails, drafting documents, and so on. But there is one crucial point here you need to know, is that you are not supposed to upload your corporate data to ChatGPT whatsoever, neither your personal information, the PII information. And the reason is that the ChatGPT uses your data to train the AI model, which means if anyone around the globe asks a question about your information, your corporate data, then ChatGPT will answer back with your private information. That's why we don't use OpenAI ChatGPT with our corporate information. However, the solution is to use actually Copilot, because Copilot provides you with the same capabilities of ChatGPT, and better because it's integrated with all of your Microsoft 365 applications and other applications, and it provides you with a layer of security. So Copilot works within the context of your organization, within the boundary of your organization. It doesn't send your data back to the model. And on top of this, it works based on the individual permissions. So take with me this scenario. Imagine someone working on let's say a help desk or a front desk, and they're using Copilot. Will it be logical for them to ask about the department budget or ask about something above their pay grade? Um, Whatever permission the individual has, whatever information the individual can access, Copilot can access. That's what we mean by adding a layer of security on the organization level and the individual levels as well. In short, Copilot is a generative AI tool which will allow you to generate content, whether this content was text or images, right? It's based on a large language model. And when we say large language models, basically similar to ChatGPT, as we said before, but what it means is that it's been trained on huge amount of data, tremendous amount of data. That's why when we're interacting with Copilot, we need to ground Copilot. We need to be clear with Copilot. Do we want Copilot to serve the internet and get us the answer from generated data from the internet, or restricted to my corporate data where it can generate answers from my files, and that would be more accurate in your context. So Copilot works on top of a layer called Microsoft Graph. And basically, Microsoft Graph is the one responsible for collecting all of your information. I mean, by your information, I mean emails, the documents you use, SharePoint, OneDrive, the tasks that you have. We will take a quick look about Microsoft Graph in a minute. And on top of this, Copilot is integrated now to all of your Microsoft 365 suite. When I mentioned Microsoft Graph, this is a glance look at Microsoft Graph. Basically, Microsoft Graph is the API or the application responsible for your emails, the tasks from Planner, the notes that you save, all of your files, attachments, OneDrive, SharePoint, It understands the groups you're in. It understands your permission, and that what allows Copilot to work within this context and your permissions and doesn't exceed your permissions. Back to the flavors of Copilot. There is a free version of Copilot and there is a pro version of Copilot. But these two versions, they work on the web. But the version we will talk about today is called Microsoft 365 Copilot or Copilot for Microsoft 365. And this is some of the applications within the Microsoft 365 family. The usual applications you know from Word and PowerPoint and Outlook. On top of that, Copilot is there in Teams, in Loop, OneNote, and Excel, and so on. But then there are some other specialized Copilots like GitHub Copilot. That's mainly for developers. And then we have Dynamic Copilot. Imagine having a conversation with your customers through the CRM or getting to know more about your internal resources through the ERP. For app makers, we have Power Platform Copilot. And then for network engineers, we have Security Copilot, and for security engineers as well. So in short, my point is that Microsoft Copilot actually empowers every user. Microsoft Copilot is not only for technical professionals, it's for business users, data analysts, information workers, finance department, HR department, learning and development, your managers, the leaders, the developers, the engineers, the designers, the marketing, the sales, and the professionals who works at the back end on the networking and security level. So Copilot is for everyone. The key to using Copilot, regardless of your job role, is to understand how to write an effective prompt. So Copilot provides you with a library of prompts. I encourage all of you to go to this URL in here, Copilot Lab, where you will see different types of prompts that will allow you to extract tasks, drafts, documents, draft emails, generate PowerPoint slides, and we will see some of these examples today. For you to write an effective prompt, you need to learn what we call prompt engineering. Believe it or not, prompt engineering is a job now. So if you look up information about, if you look up job boards like in Silicon Valley or something, you will find that big companies, they're advertising for prompt engineers now. A prompt engineer basically someone who knows how to write prompts to the AI, how to request content to be generated from the AI. Back in the days, all we had was the search engine. So we needed to know some tips and tricks into how to search for certain information. It's similar now. The generative AI will allow you not only to search for information, to dig deeper and analyze and understand and generate even more content. So you need to know how to write prompt, how to use generative AI. So first of all, you begin always with a goal in mind. What do you want Copilot to do? Do you want to draft an email? Do you want to generate, let's say, a job description, right? Then you start with a bit of a context. So if you're creating a job description, then what is the job role? If you're drafting an email, what is the context about that email? So why do you need it and who is involved? You always, within the context, mention the target audience. So if I'm creating, let's say, a social media post for LinkedIn, I would pretty much mention on my prompt, who am I targeting? Am I targeting end users, professionals, everyone? Is there a range in the age group? All of this content will help the generative AI yield a better result. So once you have the goal and context, you go for the sources. You always ground the Gen AI, whether you want it to get the information from the internet or generate its own information from or its own response from your data. And last but not least, expectations. So basically, how Copilot should respond. How do you want to format the response? Do you want it in a bullet points? Do you want it in a paragraph? Do you want to create a poem? Do you want to generate an image? Well, okay. How do you want the image to look like? Is it a photo taken by a camera? Is it a painting? And you can even go like, I want a painting in the style of Da Vinci. I want a painting in the style of Leonardo DiCaprio. Or if you're creating a story, well, generate a story and write it in the style of L. Martin. You specify the tone, the details of your expectations. Do you want AI to focus or Copilot to focus on certain areas within the content generated? So this as well helps in crafting a better prompt. Let me tell you one thing. We said generative AI and Copilot are large language models, which means they've been trained on every written text on books and internet and encyclopedias and Wikipedias and so many other resources. So when you ask a general question, you will get a general answer. In IT or in processes in general, there is a saying. We say garbage in, garbage out. So if you don't pay much effort in crafting a prompt, you will not, generative AI Copilot will not pay much effort in generating a response for you because it has huge data sets of learning. It doesn't really know from where to go. So you need to direct Copilot to be more specific on what you want. For example, so if you want to write a prompt like create a blog post for me on how AI benefits small business, that's fine. But you might not get the information you want because you did not mention the context, the source, your expectation, what to focus on. So you'd rather go for, well, as a tech blogger, okay, now you're specifying the role of the AI. I educate small business owners about technologies. My audience seeks practical insights into AI applications. That's the context. Sources are added. You wanted to get data from certain websites, for instance, or certain repositories, and you're setting your expectations. The post should be concise, clear, and structured with an introduction, main content highlighting AI benefits and challenges and actionable advice, maintain an engaging and informative tone. So all of this is a very good prompt that will allow you to get the result from the first shot. But again, when we talk about prompt engineering, it's an iterative approach. You write a prompt, you see the result, and then you enhance. But when you write effective prompts, you reduce the number of iterations and modifications, and you reduce your frustrations. Many of you wrote emails through AI, but then once you write the email, you get a whole paragraph, a whole lecture, not just an email. And then you go like shorten the email, and then the Gen AI or Copilot would shorten it for you. You could have wrote that from the beginning. Write a short email, set the context, and set the tone. Do you want it friendly? Do you want it professional? And so on. So this is the key to using AI regardless of your job role, because Copilot will help you whether you were on a managerial level, C level, operational level, on a strategic level, tactical level, and operational level as well. So let's begin together the journey of a typical day in the life of a human resource or learning and development professional. But before that, I'm gonna share with you one presentation from Microsoft that will help you adopt the idea of AI. It's a scenario for HR and L&D. Let me just paste it here in the chat window. That's for later. You can check it later. From now on, our session will be practical We will see the details we're talking about. There won't be much PowerPoint and theory involved. So to begin, let's take a look at Copilot in Microsoft Teams, because what Copilot can actually help you with is to gather information about your tasks, emails, chats, everything around Microsoft 365. So in front of you is a test tenant. All the data you see here is just for testing scenarios and for training scenarios. Once you have the license of Copilot, because Copilot is license based, and inside Microsoft Team, you will see Copilot within chats, right? So the chat tab, Copilot, once you click on Copilot, you get a couple of example or sample prompts for you to use, or you can write your own. You can go like, list my urgent tasks first. Oh, I'm not writing. Okay. List my urgent tasks, for instance. And it doesn't really matter in your if your tasks are if your content is in a different language. As long as your prompt is in English, you will get the response back in English. You might get some other language within the response, but then Copilot will translate it for you. So I've requested for the list of my urgent task, and there we go. Copilot gave me the list of my urgent task. And then always Copilot try to suggest some prompts for you to follow up the conversation you started. So can you provide me more details on a task assigned by Moza? Or what are the specific updates needed for so and so? Can you help me prioritize these tasks based on their urgency? So I'm going to click on this one, and then there you go. I'm getting my tasks as as requested. So I can ask for emails, I can ask for conversations, and so on. So imagine with me that you've checked your task, and then all of a sudden you remembered that, you know what, I need to create a job description because there is this role we're posting, and we started the process of hiring. We received some emails, but I didn't finalize the job description. So let's work on the job description now. So in my scenario, we're working in a company called Graphics Design Institute, right? And we're posting a job about a senior animation designer. A bit technical for me, maybe because my background is not design. So I'm going to use Copilot to help me draft in the job description, right? I'm going to show you, first of all, a couple of things. Let me go to Word, straight ahead to Microsoft Word, opening Word. Let me change my tenant because this is the test tenant we will use. All right. And I'm going to start with a new blank document. So the minute I start Microsoft Word, I will see Copilot in two areas. Number one is on the top right corner. When I click on Copilot, I get a panel. And actually, this panel is used for you to understand content, ask questions. So if this document is already populated with data, I can use Copilot here and ask Copilot questions about the document, right? But then if I want to draft content, I will not use this panel. But let me close it. It says here, select the icon or press Alt plus I. I'm going to click on this icon here. It will open up a Copilot panel for me to start writing my prompt, right? So I have a ready prompt here just to save time. There we go. Remember context, and remember to either set the role for the AI or tell Copilot about your role. So you limit the training data that it needs to get or fetch information from, and you allow Copilot now to have the right state of mind and position and terminologies and standards and so on when it's generating the answer. So in my prompt, I go like, well, I'm an HR manager at company X. We've currently started a hiring process for new senior animation designer. Please review the attached document that outlines the job responsibility for this role and create a job description based on the responsibility. So I have the design responsibility document. Let me show you the document first before we run this prompt. Right. So I have this document which has the design team responsibility in general, the responsibilities. Yeah, you see collaboration and then some details, all right? And then some more details, right? And then design and then communication is pretty much detailed. So I'm going to use this in crafting my job description. Let me close it. Remember the names, Graphics Design Institute, and then design team responsibilities. Let me go back to my documents. Right, there we go. I'm going to go back to my prompt, paste my prompt again. And I mentioned that I would reference a file, or I will attach a file for the AI. So the way we reference files in Copilot is either by adding a forward slash or simply click on reference a file. Both will add a forward slash and the list of the recent files you used. But if you don't see your file here, don't panic. As long as your file is uploaded to OneDrive or SharePoint, Copilot will have access to it. So design, I've added the Graphics Design Institute. There you go. I can type anything, by the way. Yeah, I can type team, and then I will get any document that has the word team within the title. All right. So design DES. There we go. Design team responsibilities. Now my prompt is completed. I've told the AI what to do, what to expect, and I've grounded the AI with certain source of information. So I'm gonna click on generate. Let the magic begin. I got my senior animation design, job description, title, location, not mentioned, overview, okay. And then communication, all these are the core responsibilities, you see? Collaboration design, and it brought it from the document I attached. But I've noticed that I've included more details on my original document that has the responsibilities than what Copilot created or drafted here. So does that mean that the generated content is final? Well, no, because look at this panel here. I can keep it, I can keep the result, or I can edit it, I can delete it, or I can regenerate. So if I regenerate, I will get another version, and it might not be as detailed as I want. Or I can click here and follow up with another prompt. Remember, an iterative approach, right? So I'm going to follow up with this prompt here, right? So I'm going to say, while this job description draft is good, Saad, you failed to include most of the details around the job responsibility document. Please try again. This time, outline each responsibility area and select the responsibilities required for a senior animation designer. And I'm following up with the prompt. Let's see what Copilot will do for us. There we go. Now we have more details about the job description, yeah, about the responsibilities. All right. Still working on its qualification and so on. All right. But it can do a better job. I'm pretty sure it can do a better job because in my document I have more information. Can you please mute? Thank you. So I'm gonna follow up again and say the draft is good, but still lacks the details I'm looking for to the rest of the prompt. Include these details in the job description. Be specific as or be as specific as you can. Let's generate. It's trying to be as specific as it can. It's taken time going through my document, comparing it with the pre-generated content, because Copilot remembers all the previous versions of content it generated. Yeah, so it combines all these things together in order to get you the result that you want. Meanwhile, let me ask you a question. Do you believe generative AI will replace human being? Pick the mic or type in the chat. Do you think generative AI will replace human beings? What do you think? Let me know. And the question is actually a test to know whether you're here or you're treating me like YouTube.
We have nice.
Okay, Georgie was like sooner or later, but then we have Layal, not entirely. There's still factors of emotional intelligence and ethical decision making. Wonderful, Layal. Yeah, yes. Over time, with more skill than. All right, let me say something. The tool is called Copilot. It can't fly on its own. It needs a main pilot, and that's you. Generative AI is a supporting tool. Imagine yourself in an orchestra. Yeah. The orchestra, hear me out. The instruments that you will use in the orchestra is the generative AI. The musician who plays those instruments is you. And the output of this orchestra is productivity and efficiency and creativity. And the one conducting the orchestra is emotional intelligence, which is artificial emotional intelligence as well. And that's a part for another lecture, because it's a huge topic. But well said, Layal. So for a reason, my Copilot here is having an issue. Could be because of the internet or for several reasons. Let me try it again. There we go. That's how it should be. That's how fast it should be, and so on. So the point is, once you have the content generated, you can modify it. You can change the tone. You can even select a certain segment from the generated content and modify that particular content. You don't need to modify everything. So for now, I'm going to click on keep it at the bottom here, keep it, to make sure I preserve the content. Yeah. And if I want to modify something, I can basically select the content that I want. Maybe I want all of this in a table. Yeah, I'm just showing you an example. It's not a practical one, I know. I'm just going to show it to you as an example. I'm going to select this part here, and there will be a Copilot icon on the left side. Once I click on it, I have some options to make changes. So I will write a prompt to make changes, or rephrase, paraphrase, auto rewrite, or visualize it as a table. So I'm going to click on visualize as a table, and then it will take the info. It will keep the original information, and then it will add the table. Okay, there we go. So you can apply this to any piece of the information you have. And if you regenerate, Copilot will always remember the previously generated content, and you can go back to it at any point of time. You see the numbers here, 2 out of 2. This is the recent generated content. I click on the back arrow. I go to the previous generated content, and so on. And the one I like, I will keep. And voila, we're done with the job description. All right. But then, do I take everything generated from AI for granted? No, whether it was Copilot or any other generative tool, you always have to verify and check the generated content, right? Now that our job description is ready, let me just take this name here and save the file. If I want Copilot to work on it, where would I save it? OneDrive or SharePoint. If you don't want Copilot to see it, don't save it in OneDrive or SharePoint, right? And now we've posted the job. We received some resumes, all right? Now I want Copilot to help me finding the right candidate for this job, all right? So what I would do in this scenario, I can do it from several tools. I can do it from Copilot in Word. I can do this from Teams. I can do this from Loop. Okay, I can do it from several areas. But as long as we're in Word, let's just do it here. So I'm gonna click on New. There we go. And I'll click on Draft with Copilot. And my prompt is, there we go. A bit of a context for you to remember. What I want to do is basically I want to analyze resumes and make recommendations. Hence the prompt. Again, I'm telling the AI, who am I? Hiring manager for this company. We're hiring for position X. Please create a report that compares the attached resumes to the requirement for a senior animation designer in the attached job description. So you need to attach the resumes and the job description. So let me click here and click on reference a file. And my job description is job description. Where is it? Senior designer, graphics designer. All right. I'm gonna have to wait for this document that I just saved to be populated with Copilot on the cloud. So if you're trying this and then you started typing senior and you don't see it, it means it's not yet populated. But mine is. So here is the job description that I'm adding. And let me add two CVs, okay? But before I add the CVs, I'll have Alex and Holly. All right, why not? Let me go for / Alex resume. And let's say Holly. And my prompt is complete. I add a fourth document. Let's try / and then it says here, take a look at what I received. All right, the prompt says include up to 3 files in your description. So in Microsoft Word, you cannot, so far, you cannot add more than 3 documents attached to a prompt. In Microsoft Teams, however, you can add up to 5. So I've added the documents and let me click on generate. Candidate comparison reports. All right, intro. The job requirement, the candidate comparison. We have Alex. Let me zoom in. So it fetched the education, experience, Spark animation, blah, blah, blah. Software, Harley details, and then it ranked the candidates for me. So it says Alex first, and then it explains why. Meets all the requirements with extensive experience in animation design, and so on. All right. And then the conclusion here is that Alex is your guy or your, yeah. So you can do this. I know we have a limit of 3 documents, but then you can compare more than one or break the problem into smaller problems and then compare each one individually, or take the content from the document as text and paste it into the prompt. Okay, by that, you will overcome the limitation of adding only three documents. So let's say this is done. I'm gonna keep it. Congratulations, Alex, you got the job. And now I need to send Alex an email. But before that, I just remembered that I did not create my interview questions. And honestly, I ain't got time for for this, and I don't want to get questions from the internet because basically learners they study them, yeah, and I mean candidates they actually know most of the questions. So I'm gonna get creative, and I will use Copilot. All right. So for me to do that, I will show you a different version of Copilot now. Let me just access my tenant to make sure that I'm in the right tenant. Just a second. Right. So once you get the license, if you go to office.com, which is the place for Microsoft 365 tools, Copilot will be there as well. We can use Copilot here, same as Copilot in Microsoft Teams. But what I'm actually trying to access now is an application called Loop. So if I go to the search here and type, let me close this guy here. Technical issue, my mouse disappeared all of a sudden. All right. So I'm gonna access Loop, Microsoft Loop. There we go. It's a good place for me to take notes, brainstorm with the team. All right. Generate content on fly and so on. Right. So what I will do now, I will go to the left corner here and create a new page and ideas or a new workspace maybe. So I'll go for new workspace. I'm just gonna call it HR. I'm just gonna call it interviews, right? And I'll click on continue. And then Copilot will try to gather all files that might be related. I don't want that now. I'm gonna click on create. And this is where I will draft my interview questions. Once I'm here, you see it says / for me to start typing or drafting with Copilot. Okay. So I'm gonna click on / draft with Copilot. There we go. I'm gonna click on draft on with Copilot. And I will write my prompt here. And Copilot will help me generate the content that I want. So as I told you earlier, I have this prompt. I'm trying to overcome the technical problem of me losing the mouse. There we go. So this is my prompt. Take a look. What I have here, I'm asking Copilot to create a list of 15 best interview questions that should be asked for candidates applying for a senior animation designer role within my entity. Okay. Then I'm gonna click on send. Let Copilot work on it. There you go. I got my 15 lists. Okay. What I like about let's take a look first. Can describe the experience with the Veritable software. Wonderful. Would you approach the creative process when starting a new animation project? How would you? Okay. So what I like about Copilot in Loop is that once I've generated the content, I can always click on this icon here to follow up with another prompt. And then it will be applied on the current content in here. So here is my second prompt. Add a question about having failed at a project and what they learned from it. Let's send this one, see how it will be reflected. And I can ask it to add icons if I want designs highlight here within pool. Can ask it to highlight certain things and then color code them for me, and it will do all of that. So I can always run different prompts like, are there any other questions that you think should be added to the list? I'm asking Copilot now to look at to review its own content, its own generated content. And let's see, it's added the 16 question here. Can you describe? But then boom, all of a sudden from 16, now it's adding more questions that it thinks is crucial um, to this process, right? Some of them are technical, some of them are soft skills, and so on. And that's another example of um, how to use Copilot to generate questions. Now, in some scenarios, maybe this domain is not my domain. So some of the questions I don't really know the actual answers to because they're technical questions. So I might follow up and say, add a model answer for each question, for instance. Pulling things together. And there we go. I have my questions and I have the model answer. So you can really play with the content based on your requirement, the context of what you're trying to achieve. So now we've drafted the job description. We have the interview question. The last thing we want to do is to send an email and congrat Alex for getting the job. So let me open up my tenant, my test tenant emails. There you go. So here's my Outlook. I'm gonna go for a new email, and this is where I will find Copilot. There we go. So here is Copilot. Okay. So I'm gonna send an email to Alex, but for me to write a good prompt, I again after clicking on Copilot, I will click on Draft with Copilot, and I need to add some context. I need to tell Copilot who am I, to whom I'm sending this email. All right. My previous prompt was Patty, but our um, best candidate is Alex, for instance. So there we go. Okay. And then Alex here, wherever. Okay. And then I click on generate. Right. So this is the generated content. Dear Alex, I hope this email finds you well. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you can see my email is generated. What I want to highlight is that I have options here to adjust whether I want it longer, I want it shorter, formal, informal, direct, or I want to make it as a poem. Of course, this is not practical. I'm just going to show you the capabilities. All right. Imagine that HR sending you a poem telling you that, uh, or imagine yourself, let's say you make it shorter, sending a poem for candidates. All right. So this is a shorter one. There we go. Make it formal. All right. So I can adjust settings here. I can always regenerate and I can keep it. Okay. So I have four versions as you can see here, or here in this box in here. This is where I add changes that I want AI to do, and the changes that I want to do is that I really forgot to tell them about more specific employee benefits that they will get. So I'm gonna add this to my following prompt. Okay, I will say in my follow-up prompt, There we go. Let me get rid of this. There we go. Here. All right. So this first draft looks good. However, I forgot to ask you to review the attached document. That's my point. Within Microsoft Copilot for Outlook, there is no button to attach a document directly to the prompt. What you basically need to do is to attach the document to the email. So I'm going to attach a document from OneDrive, okay, for business. So let me browse. Let me get my document, which is in Microsoft Copilot, HR. Here is the document, employee benefits. And once you attach the document to the email, Copilot will understand it, especially if this document is in OneDrive for business. And then I click on regenerate. All right, now I can play with, make it direct for, make it longer, and get more details and so on. And that will be reflected to the to the uh, to the document or to the email, to generated email, right? If I like it, I keep it. If I don't like it, I get rid of it. Another use case of Copilot. Remember those days when you wrote something, but then it was understood in a different way because the reader read it in a different way? Well, if this email was written by you, you can you can ask Copilot to coach your writing style. You see, you can go for coaching by Copilot. So you click on coach by Copilot, and then Copilot looks at the email that you wrote, and then it will give you advices on the tone of your email. The email is polite and professional, but it could be more engaging and warm, and so on. Replace, I trust this message finds you well, with, I hope you're doing well. It depends on the tone you're trying to achieve, of course. And then it will show you the reader sentiment. How would the reader, how the reader would feel when they read your email, all right? And then the clarity of your email. And then you take these points into consideration, so you drop them what the feature is there. So to recap, what we spoke about today is a couple of scenarios for HR and L&D. Mainly for NLD, L&D. Imagine that you want to draft a training outline. So you can simply go like create a training outline about AI in, let's say, cybersecurity. Then, of course, you need to mention the target audience, the duration, and all the details we spoke about. Just because of the time, I'm going to keep my prompt very short. And then it would help you generating everything. And if you don't like this, of course, you can regenerate. You can still add the duration, the target audience, topics that you want to focus on, and so on. Besides, it will help you generate images. It will help you generate training content as well. So in short, I like this topic. I want to generate a PowerPoint presentation about it. I can come here and generate a PowerPoint presentation. So I can ask Copilot to create a presentation from a file. And here am I adding the file. So the file that I will use is the, let's say, the employee benefits, because I want to present this to Alex during the interview. So it could be a topic, it could be an existing file. If you have a certain template, well, open up the template document first and then ask Copilot to generate slides. It will use your template. It will use the same theme, the same colors, and everything. And it always tells you what it will create, and then it creates the presentation for you. And there you go. Presentation slides are there. Presenter notes are there. Yeah, agenda, and it tells you exactly what to say and from what part of the document attached it brought this information. This is the original content. Animated and everything. Your presentation is ready. And then you can follow up with questions like, or requests like, change the image on this particular slide, add an image that represents the context of 1, 2, 3, 4, and voila, the job is done. Is it going to help you do the job? Yes. Will it do the job for you? No. It's a good start. I like to say, when I usually define what Copilot is, like, uh, well, let me say it this way. With Copilot, you will never write the first draft yourself. You will never take the time and effort to write your own draft. You start with Copilot, a good quick jump start, and then you modify and take it from there. This is the time where you ask your questions. Feel free to pick up the mic or type your question here. And the more you ask, the better I can help. Yes, please, Catherine.
Thank you for your presentation. That was very interesting. The question I had is when you were sharing the interview questions, because that's quite interesting, or all of it was, but that's quite interesting for something that we're working on. I presume that when you set the parameters for it, are you able to segment those interview questions into levels, or as in if you want really complex technical questions, or basic,
Yes.
intermediate and advanced? Is it that sophisticated?
Yes, you can do that. You can do that. You can create interview questions about what for, or not about, actually, for an L&D professional job role, and then you go for a new line and you start adding. That's part of the context we mentioned. So you mentioned, how do you want it? Let's say categorize them into 3 levels,
Yeah.
and then mention basic questions, intermediate, and advanced ones. Yeah. And then if you want to add more details, like the advanced questions must be tricky and technical. The basic ones should be about soft skills and personality traits. So you mentioned all what you would expect. It's
Yeah.
like when you're directing an assistant to do something for you, instead of going back and forward, you have to be clear at the beginning, what do you want, and then it would generate it for you. By the time it generates the questions, the same thing applies for
Yeah.
the same things applies for L&D as well.
Yeah.
Because if on the right hand here, if I want to create an assessment of, let's say, 10 questions, all right, basically it's let's say psychrometric test, yeah, in a psychometric test style, okay. And then whatever the details that I want to add, then it will generate those questions for me. Could be psychometric test, it could be a domain technical questions. And then remember, Copilot would get, I didn't pay much effort on my prompt. So that's the result I got. But I could
Yeah.
have showed him example. I could have shared, I want MCQ, okay? Highlight the correct answer for me. And then I will get my result. Thank you. Thank you for the question, Catherine.
Thank you.
Any other question?
Ayman, we want actually to give our audience the giveaway promise.
All right, all right. This is where we conclude the session. However, we have, as Rola mentioned, giveaways for you. I really hope you enjoyed my flight. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for joining us today. I will leave the stage to Rola. What you will receive is an activation code from Microsoft to activate a course within your Microsoft profile. But on top of this, you will get a certification of attendance from Microsoft added to your profile. This certificate is social media friendly. It's shareable. You can share it to your LinkedIn. Don't forget to add me when you do so. And you can print those certifications as well and celebrate your achievement. But the main point is that this certification will add the course link into your profile. So you can later on carry on proceeding in learning and visit all the content that we discussed here today and more. The mic is yours, Rula.
Great. Do you have the QR code to share it here or?
Allow me a sec. I thought you will.
Yeah. I do have the link. I'm going to paste the
I have
link
the QR
here.
code.
And if you have I'm going to share the link here where you can claim your knowledge. And shortly we are going to receive to share the QR code.
QR code. There we go. If you scan or click on the link, make sure you sign in with your personal account. It should be a Microsoft account. Certificate is from Microsoft. But if you don't have a Microsoft account, it's okay to sign in with your corporate account. We always recommend, and Microsoft recommends your personal accounts because this is your profile. It stays with you. If you take any other Microsoft course in the future, you will receive the certification the same way. So you have one profile to accumulate all of your future success and future certifications.
Thank you, Ayman, and thanks everyone for your time. As I mentioned, I will follow up with an email that has all the details for the upcoming webinars as well as a recap of today's session. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you, Georgie. Thank you, Sultan.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, cheers.